And this rubber boot here, I just pulled that out. It was a little tight. Where did I get that from? Over here. The outside didn't want to come out, but I had to squeeze this, and it was in here, and I squeezed it, kind of pushed on it while I was pulling on this, and then it popped out of there. The kit comes with new ones. This is just a parts washer that's full of diesel fuel, off-road diesel fuel, and I'm just rinsing off all the greasy stuff. And I've got another parts washer over there that's full of soap. It's back there behind this. It's full of soap for parts, for cleaning parts. I'm going to take some of that soap. After I clean these by hand with the brush and the diesel fuel, I'm going to take some of that soap and I'm going to put that in the ultrasonic cleaner and run the ultrasonic for a while and then let it soak while I take the wheel off to do the tire. I'll let it soak for a while and then put the ultrasonic back on again. I'm trying to clean these ring grooves as much as I can with a brush, and then after we get all of this solvent cleaned off of there and everything's clean and dry, then I'm going to check those grooves out real carefully with a bright flashlight and see if I need to get in there with something pointed and sharp and scrape any corners, any corrosion that might be in there. I could see corrosion already in these, where these outer dust seal goes. It's another thing these seal picks are perfect for. But a steel pointed seal pick against aluminum, it's going to feel a little crusty when you're hitting corrosion, but you got to know the difference between the corrosion and cutting into the aluminum. But you got to get that out of there or the seal will be in there too tight, because they'll be pushing the seal out against the piston, and you don't want it too tight or the brakes won't be able to back up. They won't be able to loosen up when you let go. That's a problem I had. So I highly recommend getting these seal picks if you don't have any. They're not just for seals, they're for a lot of stuff. This is the parts cleaner that has soap in it. I'm just going to dunk this basket. I got my caliper, the bracket, the banjo, and the bleeder. I'm just going to set them down in here and let that thing run for a while, and then I'll start taking tire off, or getting the other caliper off, getting other stuff done over there. And then after this runs for a little while, not too long, 15 minutes or so, then I'll take it inside, put it in the ultrasonic. Okay, I'm back in here on this ultrasonic. I'm gonna, man, them pieces are hot. I'm gonna turn that off. That water was clear, relatively transparent. I mean that soapy water. I'm going to take this thing out of there, pour this soapy water off into one of these containers, and then rinse those parts. That soapy water was not dirty like that. It was not dark. You could see through. It was kind of a yellowish color and it was transparent. I rinsed these parts off in clean water several times, maybe 4 or 5 times, and now we're going to put them in the ultrasonic again, just in the clean water. Let them sit in there for a few minutes. Here's the water after putting it in the ultrasonic, and just plain water. It's not clean. That's dirty water. But I didn't want the soap being caught in those nooks and crannies and little passages and having the brake fluid mixed with that. I didn't know if that would cause any issues down the road or not. So that's not very clean water. That was, well, it had soap in it, as you can see. Might not hurt to fill it up and run it one more time, get the rest of the soap out of it. That did it. That's the water I just poured off of it after running it one more time for a couple minutes. It's clean now. No soap, no dirt. Parts are hot, but I gotta blow dry them, get the water out of them. After all that cleaning, ultrasonic and everything, I still have corrosion in here. And like right down in that ring groove, or in that seal groove, there's corrosion all down in this area, but that doesn't matter. I mean, I don't like it, but I could get it out. In this ring groove, I can't do anything with that except pick at it with these picks. I can't leave that in there. That's going to grow and get worse. And just wiping it lightly, I'm getting white powder on the tip of this seal pick. That has to go. But I can put it in a sandblaster or even a soda blaster. I got another small sandblaster filled with baking soda. But I can't do anything inside these grooves because that's going to damage the finish inside those cylinders. And the finish inside those cylinders is great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just those ring grooves are messed up. And if I used acid like I do on carburetors, I could have gotten that corrosion out of there in the ultrasonic. But that would also take this powder coating off. So this is tricky. Oh, it'll work. I can put it together and it'll work fine right now, but it's not going to last too awful long because that corrosion is going to continue to work on inside there, and it's going to start corroding again. Anyway, I'm going to pick at that, clean it out as best as I can with these little picks. There's certainly no grease on it anywhere. It's spotless otherwise, but a little bit of corrosion. So you put this together, put those seals in there with brake fluid, and then put it back together. Well, the seal kit, it comes with that little red jelly jar in the middle there. That goes with it. That's for putting this thing together. So anyway, let me get those ring grooves cleaned out. Well, I gave it about 30 seconds in the sandblaster and taped it all up, all the holes in the cylinders. I wish I could clean inside those piston rings, those seals. I wish I could clean that with the sandblaster, but that'll destroy the finish inside the cylinders. I have to cheat and look at the other caliper to see where these pieces go. This little short rubber one goes in here. I guess I can pull it back out, stick it back in again. Show you where it goes. It goes in there. If you can find out where that spot is. Because the bolt hole or a pin goes, it moves back and forth in here, and this is just a place for it to go to. No threads or nothing in there. So I'll put that back in there. And then the one like this, it goes, where was that? It's right here. That goes on the caliper. That goes on the caliper with this closed end sticking on the outside. The outside's over here, so the closed end's over here. That's going to go in there like this. That's going to be fun getting that back in there, but I'll do it. Okay, I just lubed up this end of it and squeezed it, pinched it real tight, and squeezed it and pushed it in that hole, and just started working it through, and it went right on in there. I lubed it with a little bit of the brake fluid that came out, and we got this one in too. So now I got to put this red grease inside these pistons and grease these pistons and these cylinders with this red grease and these rings. Of course, the bigger rings are going to go farther inside, and the thinner ones are going the outside as your dust seal. Got my sealing rings inside there, all seated good the way they're supposed to be, and I got a coat of that red grease around the sides of those cylinder holes. Don't need it on the bottom. Some of it's going to get there, but you don't need it there because nothing slides against the bottom. So I'm going to wipe a little bit thin coat on these pistons and put those in. Got my pistons in. I got this brake spring in there that holds the brake shoes, and I was getting ready to put these pins in that hold the brake shoes on, and I saw these holes that the pins go through. Well, they come through from the other side, but the smooth end has to come out into here, and look at those holes. They are corroded. I wish I could have soaked this thing in acid. I would have gotten that corrosion out of there. I can't even sandblast that out of there, so I'm going to have to use a drill. I'll try a screwdriver blade or something, a small flat screwdriver blade, or else I have to stick a drill in there and drill that out, both of them. Got those holes cleaned out with a drill. I think it was 15-30 seconds. No, it couldn't be that much. It'd have to be 64ths or something like that. I don't know. I forgot. But anyway, got them cleaned out. I can start putting it together now. I'm going to put a little water-resistant or marine-style bearing grease on these pins, and try to get a little bit in these holes that the pins are going to be riding in, and inside these boots a little bit. Before you tighten these pins down in those holes, get this outer shoe, needs to be on the outside of those little keepers in there. Let's see if we can get this shoe back out here to show you. This little keeper right here on this spring, you want that out here to hold that outer shoe against this outside. The only shoe that's supposed to move in and out is the one next to the pistons. So there's a little keeper on the spring there, and it's right there, and you want to put that shoe on the outside of that so it stays against the outside part there. These little screws that protect those pins, where they go in here to cover those pins so that they don't get corroded. I'm going to put some of this grease in these holes and on the threads of these pins to protect that before I put these in. Now I put some of that marine grease on these pins, and just a little bit on the tip of the bushings where they're going to be going in, and getting ready to put that back together. Of course, the big pin goes in the big hole, the little pin goes in the little hole. Getting ready to put this thing on. This bracket on here is a little bit spongy because I got grease in it and a sealed air inside there, and so it squeezes and it wants to squeeze it in, but the air pushes it back out. It's not a problem, it'll leak out eventually, but need to push it in and hold it in order to get this over your caliper. We got to stick that on the caliper down there and then roll it up here into position and put the bolts in. Stick it on the caliper down here, roll it up here, put the bolts. Didn't have the camera up there, sorry. They gave me new copper washers for the banjo. I'm going to go ahead and use them. Here's my banjo fitting, Got to put one on each side of the fitting. One goes on the bolt, and the other one, the bolt goes through the banjo, and then the other washer goes on the other side of it. So let me go ahead and put that on. It's going to go right here. Before I can bleed the brake, I got this thing tilted in a way where the brake fluid is going to run out and it can't get on the paint. The brake fluid will strip the paint. So you got to have some kind of protection, some kind of cover over your painted area. I put a little spray on my screws up here, the master cylinder. I got to break those loose. We're going to bleed these brakes. We might have to bleed the master cylinder right here as well. If this gets empty, we'll have to bleed it here too. If it stays full or doesn't get empty, you don't get to where you expose the hole down there, then we can just keep topping it off and bleeding it down there by the wheel. Okay, I bled this out a little bit down here, but I still got a spongy brake, and I just filled it up again. So what I got to do now is crack this banjo loose, and so I'm going to pump this up, crack the banjo loose, let some air out of it, and then let it fill up again with fluid, and then do that again a couple of times.